Hey guys, King of Charmander's here. Today I will be a judge, jury, and your analyst, and today we'll be analyzing the top 10 Pokemon in Season 8 Great League. Great League's been out for a week now. You've had several days to battle it out and to go battle night, so a lot of you that are gunning for Legend should already have your ratings. But if you don't have your rating yet, or if you're a little lost at what Pokemon to use so that you could build a team with them, here I'll be featuring the top 10 most statistically powerful Pokemon in a team. In other words, if you put these in a team, your team rating is going to be pretty dang good. Now, as I always say, please consider contributing to pvpoke.com. You know, it's not like have you ever watched SpongeBob SquarePants? Well, it's like Mr. Krabs. If you know, Mr. Krabs is greedy, but pvpoke is not greedy. pvpoke is a wonderful human being as well as a wonderful website. So please consider contributing if you can. Now, just like every top at oh wait, hold on, that's totally the wrong place. Okay, wait, that's wrong. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You go to training, go to top performers, and poof. As you see here, Great League was updated about 2 days ago, June 5th. I didn't notice those updated now. I was actually waiting for this. Been a little busy, but here we go. We did just have Gibble Community Day though, so not surprised that not a surprise. Like, you know, all of you probably got a Shundo. You know that shiny little thing? You ever watch Dragon Ball Z? You got the shiny, you know, if there's like shiny Dragon Balls or something like that. If you collected the 7 shiny Dragon Balls, and you prayed and made a wish to Shiny Shenron, and Shiny Shenron gave you a Shundo Gibble, I am mad jealous. Anyways, back to relevant data and for the video, here are, again, we're going to be analyzing the top 10 Pokemon with team ratings as you see here. As you see here to the left, you have the top Pokemon with their name, team rating to the right. In other words, a lot of combinations used, and these are the highest rankings when you put in combination. Individual ranking, as you right here, individual ranking is basically just how strong individually it is, and how common it is actually used. If it's in like an orange like tint like this, basically that means that Pokemon isn't used too much, or one individual or a few individuals are actually using that Pokemon in teams for their sample sizes. Anyways, let's get started. Alright, so unlike my team building videos, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go from number 1 to number 10. It's just a lot easier that way, and instead of scrolling down to up, it's actually a lot easier for me to do that. Plus, I'm going to analyze each one individually anyways. So instead of making it super hard, like, you know, if you ever watch the Pokemon episode where Ash uses Metapod evolves, and then you have Metapod and the Bug Trainer dude have Metapod versus Metapod, I'm not going to have you stare for a bajillion years while 2 Metapods use Harden constantly, and the trainers try to decide on their life choices on whether or not they are actually going to finally have this match end, or you're just going to two Pokemon raise their defense forever. Anyways, for the first one we have here, as you see, the one that takes the cake, the best, is Lickitung XL, at least for individual team rating. As you see here, Lickitung XL is extremely powerful in a lot of teams. Lickitung XL is an incredibly powerful save switch, and as you see here, pretty high individual rating. 125 is pretty... Well, most of these will be at above 100%, so individual rating, as you see, like, it's pretty dang good. But I'm not surprised to see the usage at 1.4%. This is one of the lowest percentage ratings, and I'm not really surprised just because not a lot of people still have a Lickitung XL. Yes, you could build one, but you know, it takes a lot of kilometers, a lot of like resources of walking, or you're just dumping all your candy in a Lickitung and then converting into XL candy. Whichever method you are using, Lickitung XL is a beast. As you see here, if we go to its individual stats, Lickitung XL ranks at number 17 overall. As you see here, best used as a lead and a switch. So probably seen a ton of Lickitung XLs, mostly in the back row scenario, so you see it as a switch. It's still very, very powerful as a switch, as an XL, just because Body Slam plus Power Up does so much damage. While Lickitung is susceptible to fighters, as you see here, as well as things that resist Lick, which are Dark types and Umbreon, and Bastiodon, just because it's super bulky, or things that have a lot of pressure, like Galarian Stunfisk, Lickitung does extremely well against a lot of meta combinations. It's able to take out Azu, just because it has Power Whip. Alolan Marowak also falls pretty handily. Swampert does get yeeted by 1 Power Whip, so if Lickitung gets a Power Up on Swampert, it's pretty much game. Well, that's for most Mud Boys, just because they're double weak to grass. You also are able to beat Galvantula despite it debuffing you to death, because Lickitung XL is so thick and has a huge butt. You know, like almost every single anime antagonist or like protagonist that's actually a chick. At least nowadays, because it's fan service. Fan service is good. If you like anime and you like fan service and you're old enough to understand what I'm saying, then you, good sir or ma'am, are a champion. Anyways, back to the relevant subject. As you see here, Deoxys defense is also able to be beat by Lickitung, just because Lickitung, like I said, is super bulky. Lickitung can survive a couple of counters, and if you can't survive those body slams, it can take switch for you or just outright dominate the matchup because of how blubbery and super bulky Lickitung XL is. Next up at number 2, we have Registeel, the legendary trash can. La Basura, as I so-called named the giant, beeping thingy that literally focus blasts and flash cannons you to death, as it was essentially the most powerful Pokemon in Season 1 of Grow Battle League, and to this day is still a giant pain in your butt. You still have one, like I do. Registeel, like I mentioned, has a great long-term investment. It's not really surprised that 3.4% of the population is using Registeel in PvPoke.com. High individual rating and an even higher team rating at 523. As you see, only 2 points above Lickitung XL. Lickitung XL functions as an incredibly powerful safe switch. As for Registeel, as you see here, Registeel ranks at number 13 overall. If you didn't know, Focus Blast actually got its original value yet, so it's not nerfed anymore. It's back to 150. Because of that, Focus Blast does a lot more threatening damage against things like Bastiodon as well as Skarmory. The one-shot range is a lot higher with Registeel now, and as you see, Registeel is an absolute monster, being able to wipe out a whole bunch of things. With Focus Blast at its regular attack value now, you'll do more damage against Galarian Stunfisk, as you see here, so Focus Blast will put a lot of things that are weak to it in higher kill ranges. So that's why Registeel kind of Registeel's value did go up a lot. The problem with Registeel, it is legendary, so if you're not rating for it now, it's very difficult to get one and very expensive, because like I said, a legendary trash can is still very legendary, and legendary Pokemon cost 100,000 dust for their second move. Whoever decided to do these values for Pokemon Go, you must hate them a lot, because if you don't have 100k Stardust, you probably don't have a Registeel built for Great League. If you do, like me, it's extremely valuable. What makes Registeel so powerful? I was about to say like Lickitung XL. Well, because it's pretty much like Lickitung XL as far as its ridiculous defense. Registeel is incredibly bulky. Registeel's bulk allows it to suffer through a lot of damage. It can tank a bunch of damage, etc. And because it has Lock-On charges both of its charge moves very quickly. Sadly, Flash Cannon is still nerfed, so because of that, Registeel isn't as much as it was in Season 1. However, as you see here, it's still the #1 freaking closer in the game. I've faced a couple of Registeels, but as a closer, Registeel is still incredibly strong. Especially if it does have shield advantage, Registeel is going to break shields, or it's going to nuke your opponent to death. As you see here, it is susceptible to ground types and fighters, as well as Alolan Marowak, so just keep in mind, it's not overly invincible. It's really freaking good, and it's very tanky, however, it's not unbeatable. However, it does have a pretty ridiculous overall stat product. As you see, it's extremely bulky, flexible, has a lot of shield pressure, extremely defensive, but unfortunately it doesn't have fast move pressure, which is okay because every Pokemon that has Lock-On only does 1 damage anyways. However, if you do have it, keep in mind that locking down an opponent is probably one of the most either disrespectful things you've ever done to someone, or one of the most disrespectful things that's been done to you. I can't say that I used Registeel really heavily in Season 1, okay? So don't hate me if I did lock down a lot of people. It was very joyous, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, Registeel is still really good, and again, if you want to rate it for Great League, it's really powerful. And it sits atop at #2 overall for the most powerful Pokemon in PvPoke.com for Season 8 Great League. Alright, now Poké! The pain in my voice. So the third, as you see here, is Medicham XL. The Psychic and Power Up version, as you see here, has an individual rating of 130. 1.9% of the spectrum was actually using this variation. Now, if you look below here, there's actually 2 versions of Medicham being used, and the second version was actually being used a lot more than the first one, with a whooping 1.9% versus 15.7%. So, in other words, Medicham is freaking good. It's really strong. It's extremely annoying, and it's also very, very large, as in extra large. As you see here, Medicham XL is still here to stay, and it's been an absolute destroyer. Number 3, with a very, very high team rating, Medicham XL has been part of the most powerful core in Go Battle League, which is the Medicham Bastiodon core, and it's been out for literally... Since Medicham XL became a thing, that combination has been terrorizing Go Battle League, and hasn't gone away since its inception. As you see here, the reason why Medicham XL is so freaking good using multiple different movesets is because depending on which one you have, you can straight power up punch a Scrafty to death, you can 2-shield through an Altaria with Ice Punch, Psychic allows you to beat a Zoomeril. It's just that good. Depending on which moveset you have, it has such a wide variety of coverage, and against a lot of multiple different combinations, Medicham is absolutely annoying, destructive, and it also has an incredibly high rating across every position. In other words, Medicham XL, whether you use it as a lead switch or closer, it's extremely flexible and will do good in nearly every position. Minus getting obliterated by a Sableye safe switch, which happens to seem to happen to most every people, or a flying type, as you see here, or it just gets charmed to death, which is why, yeah, as with any fighter. But Medicham XL has been the most powerful fighter for an incredibly long time. As you see, overall, it is the most powerful Pokemon overall for Great League as of right now. Absolutely eclipsing the combination and destroying everything. Overall, being the most powerful, and this was actually the same rating for, like, the past 2 seasons. So, Medicham XL overall has been number 1 for quite a while, and it's here to stay. It's flexible with a lot of movesets, so again, if you're using Ice Punch Psychic, Power Up Punch, Ice Punch, Power Up Punch Psychic, either one works. Whichever one you're comfortable with, you should use. The reason why Medicham XL is so powerful is because it's extremely bulky. There's not a lot of things that is bad to say. It has Counter, which is the most powerful fast move overall as far as like energy, damage, etc. Wide variety of charge moves, and as you see here for all of its traits, it really doesn't, you really don't, other than being locked into what it's supposed to lose against anyways, it's very, very powerful for Great League, and with Bastiodon has been one of the most powerful cores for a very long time. Arguably the most powerful core. Alright, Pokemon number 4 might also be your, actually, a lot of you might actually like this, Nidoqueen Shadow. So if you're wondering about the normal or the regular one, if we're looking at statistically, the Shadow Nidoqueen is, as you see here, the number 4 overall most powerful Pokemon in Great League. It's really good for several reasons. The new Poison Jab / Poison Fang buff actually made Shadow Nidoqueen a beast, and a lot of people are using it. 3.3% to be exact or more, but like it could actually be a lot higher than that. As you see here, in a lot of different teams, Nidoqueen Shadow is actually extremely powerful. Earthquake threatens a lot of Nidoqueen's weaknesses are Earth Power, not Earthquake. If you get hit with an Earthquake, you die as Shadow Nidoqueen, but Earth Power will KO a lot of things at a very high range. Poison Fang is also able to straight Poison Fang down a lot of different combinations, and as you see here, Shadow Nidoqueen has a very high team rating. Overall, Shadow Nidoqueen is an absolute destroyer, as you see here, so if we go on to its overall ranking, Shadow Nidoqueen is best used as a lead. Number 36 overall, again, the Poison type debuff allowed it to basically beat a ton of different combinations. As you see here, it has a killing against Bastiodon, against the fighter types, as well as electric types in Galvantula, because you do resist discharge as well as Volt Switch. So, incredibly powerful, incredibly strong. The only thing that kind of makes Nidoqueen kind of iffy is that, as you see for its Colossus, Skarmory is able to essentially rip Shadow Nidoqueen a new hole, just because Shadow Nidoqueen is essentially walled by a Steel / Flying type. Doesn't do well against the Ghost archetype either, as well as the Water archetype. Swampert and Politoed will give you a hard time if they rev up with Weather Ball or with Hydro Cannon. And like I mentioned before, you will die to an Earthquake, which is why you have such a bad rating against Galarian Stunfisk. Galarian Stunfisk, ground types also resist your Poison type, so just keep that in mind. The only one thing that really limits Shadow Nidoqueen is really its bulk. As you see here, it spams. It has that debuff with Poison Fang, Flexible Dynamic, has a ton of fast move pressure. I Poison Jabbed a lot of things down, and you'll pressure shields a lot, because if anything like a Galarian Stunfisk or a Bastiodon gets hit with an Earth Power, it's going to hurt a lot. That's why it's the number 1 lead. As you see here, if you get locked into a positive matchup or even a neutral run, you have a lot of choices of whether to either just sacrifice Nidoqueen as a lead, Shadow Nidoqueen as a lead entirely, or if you want to just bully through them with Poison Jab, it's up to you. Leaving your opponent with a debuff defense mon, possibly shield advantage, or just outright winning the matchup with Shadow Nidoqueen. Incredibly powerful, incredibly strong, and shows that the poison type debuff did really make an impact in the Go Battle League meta. You also see less Charmers, so that's always a good thing. Alright, next up on the list is Mew. You probably have seen a lot of Mews running around. I definitely have, whether it be Flame Charge, Wild Charge, as you see here, or Surf Wild Charge. At a combined ratio, Mew's been used, as you see here, for the team rating. It messages well with a lot of teams, and it has a very high individual rating with either moveset, as you see here. Mew's just super flexible, and with the new poison types rising, a lot of them are weak to Surf. So you do see Surf kind of taking a little bit of prominence. You also have Flame Charge, Wild Charge. With Flame Charge, you can one-shot Obama Snows. With Flame Charge, you can also beat Galarian Stunfisk in the 2-shield. So, Mew with Wild Charge / Flame Charge is a very or even with Surf, is a very threatening mon that will break shields or outright win the match and or do heavy damage. Mew is extremely powerful. Like I said, Mew is incredibly flexible. Either Surf or Wild Charge or Flame Charge, Wild Charge works. 5 rating isn't a lot, so if you're getting really picky with the next one, just pick one. Either Surf, Wild Charge, or Flame Charge, or Flame Charge. I got that wrong. Wild Charge Surf or Wild Charge Flame Charge. Double Charge or either Surf Wild Charge is really good, and as you see here, it still ranks 35 overall. Use an incredibly powerful save switch, as you see here, minus getting locked into a Sableye, which that's the scenario I see a lot. Other than that, it's an incredibly powerful lead. It will force you to shield 9 times out of 10 if you don't possibly double reserve both of Mew's moves, or it's going to keep you guessing a lot, and it has a lot of shield pressure. As you see, it's spammy, it's dynamic, lots of shield pressure, but it's very technical. You have to have a decent understanding of Mew and energy management if you want to use Mew effectively. As you see here, Mew is able to beat a whole combination of Pokemon. Wild Charge and Surf is your preferred moveset. However, as you see, Flame Charge, Wild Charge also works as well. Mew is just so threatening, being able to beat a ton of different combinations. However, it is prone to getting out pressured by things like Swampert, debuff by Galvantula, and of course, Bastiodon can run through Mew. So just be careful that Mew isn't the bulkiest thing in the world, and because you don't get same type of Dax bonus for all 3 of its moves most of the time, it might give you a hard time. However, Shadow Claw, Wild Charge, and Surf is a beastly moveset, even if you're using Double Charge, and it is here to stay, and it is very powerful in Great League still. So if you got your Kanto event Mew already, your shiny Mew, then you're in luck because it's a beast for Season 8 Go Battle League. Alright, standing at number 6, as you see, we have Alolan Ninetales. As you see, for the team rating, it is the Poisons, you know, when I see PS, I think Poison Sting, it's Powder Snow. So the Powder Snow variation with Dazzling Gleam as well as Weather Ball has a 512 rating, high individual rating, and a 2.3% team rating. So Alolan Ninetales, I've seen a lot of Alolan Ninetales in Go Battle League through my sets, but like as you see here, Alolan Ninetales is still a beast. Weather Ball is still very powerful in this meta, and Alolan Ninetales' buff is still really good. Alolan Ninetales does really well for the sole purpose that Weather Ball plus Powder Snow charges very quickly. Umbreon and Scrafty don't do very well against Alolan Ninetales. Dazzling Gleam does heavy damage at what you can hit against. And a low-key secret, if your attack is high enough, you can actually win the 2-shield against Galarian Stunfisk. The keywords can. You can also beat things like Deoxys Defense, Altaria, of course, because Altaria is double weak to Ice-type Pokemon, and as you see here, Alolan Ninetales is able to bully its way through Skarmory, Swampert, or actually, it can in the 2-shield bully its way through Skarmory. In the 2-shield, Swampert can give you a hard time because of Sludge Wave. And, of course, Poison-type Pokemon, with the Poison-type buff. Alolan Ninetales is a little dangerous, as you see here. Its best position is in the lead. Still good as a switch or closer, but if you do lead against a Poison-type Pokemon, it's going to suck a lot. Just because, again, because Alolan Ninetales is a Fairy type, Fairy types are weak to Poison. As you see, it spams, it's very dynamic, however, it's volatile. So what it means by volatile is, if you put above here, it is susceptible to a lot of weaknesses. Just because, again, Poison types can fry you, Fire types can fry you. It's still really good, but also you have to be aware that it can be weak to a lot of things, especially with Poison being buffed. But still a great mon to use in a lot of different team combinations. Powder Snow and Weather Ball with Dazzling Gleam. I've also seen a lot of Charmtails, so Charmtails, in my opinion, is the strongest Charmer because its ability to get to Weather Ball. in 6 charms, so Charmtails is still here to stay as well. I've actually faced quite a few Charmtails in Go Battle League this season. Alright, next up we have, I'm not going to analyze Mew and Medicham again, so we're going to skip down to Sableye. As you see, Sableye is still good in a lot of teams. Sporting a 10.9 usage percentage, which means it's used a lot in a whole lot of teams, as you see here, with a high individual rating. So the reason why Sableye is still really good, in my opinion, especially if it's XL, it is one of the most powerful save switches. As you see, Sableye XL is the 9th most powerful save switch. Incredibly strong, incredibly powerful. If you do return through shields, you can take out a lot of things, which is why Sableye XL is just so godforsakingly strong. As you see here, Sableye is able to beat a lot of save switch combinations, or it can foul play it to death. That's why Sableye is just such a beast. Sableye can also beat a Azumarill if you return through shield, and then you can just easily foul play down, or just Shadow Claw down in the save switch scenario. Again, for the long time, it has been one of the most powerful save switches. Not a lot of things can stop Sableye if it has a positive matchup, or if you're able to return through shields. It is just incredibly strong and can serve you very well in Go Battle League. As you see, it doesn't really have a lot of weaknesses as far as trait goes. It's very spammy, dynamic, and it's going to force pressure you with shields. Also, Sableye XL is incredibly powerful, very bulky, and has a lot, it's going to do a lot of damage over time. Shadow Claw generates energy so quickly that it's able to fire off foul play and, well, return not so quickly, but foul play, it's incredibly strong. That's why it's ranked, and that's why it's put in so many teams. And if you watch my top teams video, usually you'll see a Sableye save switch team almost every season in that video. Alright, and the number, I think the number 8 position, as you see here, we got Scrafty. Scrafty, as you see, is also very powerful. Was very powerful for multiple seasons, has a 508 rating, and I've also been using in a closer. In fact, if you watch the most powerful team, Scrafty is actually in the most powerful team as a closer. It's very strong. Power Up Punch does allow you to rev up a lot, and if you foul play through shields, can possibly win through a lot of matches. An example, if your opponent save switches into Sableye, if you fire a foul play through shields, that keyword's a big if, that's why I gasped. It's a big if, but if you foul play through shields, you could pop after that, you could throw a Power Punch, and your opponent will never get to another return. So basically, Scrafty is an incredibly powerful counter to Sableye if one of two things happen. 1, if you shield their return, and 2, if you get a foul play through shields. If you do that, you guarantee you'll win back switch against Sableye, because Sableye can't get to 2 returns if you do it that way. Scrafty is also able to handle a lot of the steel types in the back, and with foul play plus pup generation, there is multiple times where I've actually beat the unholy crap out of Alolan Marowak, or I foul played a Azumarill to death with Power Up Punch boost damage. As you see here, 508 rating's really, really high. Scrafty is very, very good in this lead. I've seen it in the lead. I've also seen it in the closer a lot. Not so powerful as a save switch. I wouldn't throw Scrafty into something unless you know it's going to beat it, just because Scrafty is very susceptible to Charmers. Charmers will hurt you a lot. Scrafty also loses to other fighters, so if you get Scrafty locked into a Medicham XL, it's a bad time for you. As you see here, Scrafty does very well against things like Swampert, Alolan Marowak, the ghost target types in general, just because of its ability to essentially just foul play them to death. Also, because of it does resist Ghost, and it does resist Dark as well. It has a very strong matchup against Umbreon. Now, like I mentioned with Scrafty, you are weak to other fighters, which is why Toxicross is a very good matchup against you. Scrafty can also get walled by a Azumarill. If you get locked into a Azumarill, which has happened to me a lot sometimes, you are going to have to make sure you can either Power Up Punch or foul play down. I've done it a lot of times, but still not a comfortable matchup. Skarmory can also give you an issue. Skarmory is a beast, and the problem with Skarmory is that if you do get Skarmory, Skarmory is going to delete you. I'm not sure why the window closed, but as you see here, Skarmory can give you a very hard time. If Skarmory does go through, you're going to have a little bit of a problem, because one Sky Attack will yeet you to oblivion, and it's very, very... and you don't want to take flying type damage. Even Airless will do a lot of damage against Scrafty. As you see here, it's bulky, dynamic, good fast pressure, good momentum. However, like I mentioned, it's volatile. Susceptible to double weaknesses just because of this typing. And again, if you see a Charmer, you're going to die in like 4 charms. So make sure you switch out or play around charms as much as possible. Alright, for number 9, we have Jellicent. So, Jellicent is really strong. For those of you that don't know, actually, if you just scroll down here, as you see here, Jellicent's actually the most powerful safe switch, literally eclipsing a bunch of different combinations of safe switches in the most powerful team on for Season 8 Great League. Jellicent is safe switch. I've actually seen it used against, I've gone into more mirror matches than I would like to, but Jellicent safe switch is really good. You can use Bubble Beam. As you see, Bubble Beam and Shadow Ball both have positive ratings, and both variants are used very heavily. 7.2 and 3.4 at a combination of 10%. So, both of them have also high individual ratings. So Jellicent with Ice Beam is necessary because with Ice Beam, you can Ice Beam down Scrafty, and with Ice Beam, you can also beat Altaria. Without Ice Beam, you won't be able to take out Altaria to 2-shield. You also can't take out Tropius. I have been able to take out a Tropius and several Altarias just because I've been an Ice Beam through shields. So as you see here, Jellicent with Ice Beam, it can be a very, very powerful mon. As you see, it's the most powerful lead in Season 8 Great League right now. It's also very powerful as a switch. The reason it's so strong as a lead is because you can Bubble Beam down, and because Jellicent resists fighters as well as the new Poison type meta, guess what? It's factually the most powerful lead. With Bubble Beam, you're able to debuff down. With Ice Beam, you can cover it with... Ice Beam is an incredibly powerful moveset with Safe Switch, just because with Ice Beam, again, you can take out Scrafty. With Ice Beam, you can also cover a lot of things that normally you'd get walled at, or it wouldn't benefit you if you had Bubble Beam. So, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Jellicent is an incredibly powerful safe switch, and it's used, like I just mentioned, it's like literally the most powerful. But it's kind of tricky to use. I've had a lot of situations where if it's, depending on IVs, Jellicent can barely live with like 1 HP to take out your opponent. As you see here, it's very bulky, spammy, very flexible, has a lot of shield pressure, it's very defensive, it's very... Whether you're holding Pringles or Queen Pringles, depending on which flavor it is, well, you have the genders and then you have the flavors for Pringles. So for Pringles, you know, you have barbecue, you have pizza, etc. Anyways, if you're a foodie, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then I promise I just like food. So as you see here, it's incredibly powerful. The problem is though, it's very technical, so it's not very friendly. It's a little complex to use, and like I said, you can squeeze out 1 HP in a dream, but you have to be really confident with Jellicent Safe Switch. And there's a lot, if you're running the double, like, Ice Beam and Shadow Ball, you get the same energy. However, using Bubble Beam, you will have to bait a lot. Well, not bait a lot, but you're gonna have to be very skilled, because if you do manage to grab a bait with Bubble Beam, it's great because of, yeah, it's hilarious, but it's also very great because you just baited a shield for, like, not a lot of energy, and it's happened to me a lot of times. A lot more than I'd like to admit. Alright, and last but not least, I don't even want to cover it. I want to skip it entirely, but I have to respect it. Not really, I give 0 respect. Number 10's freaking Bastiodon, okay? It has a 508 rating, 1022, 10.8% usage, and is one of the most powerful cores along with Medicham. Bastiodon isn't... I hate Bastiodon. Do I really have to cover this guy? Why are you top 10 in, like, every freaking Great League team, bro? Or ma'am, sir, dude, he, she, bro, freaking bro. As you see, Bastiodon's incredibly powerful, and yes, it can go XL. As you see here, rank 1 XL 0, 15, 14. It's also incredibly annoying. So the thing about Bastiodon, it's incredibly strong. Well, because it's so freaking tanky. It's really freaking tanky. As you see here, it serves as one of the most powerful closers, but the reason why it's so good is because Bastiodon can beat a lot of things down shields. As you see, it can flatten down Skarmory, Alolan Marowak, Galvantula, Hypno, Umbreon. It can beat a whole lot of things, especially if it's up shields or even if it's down shields. A Bastiodon can absolutely wipe an entire Altaria and entire Skarmory if you don't have any shields. Even things like Manabuzz can't take out Bastiodon because it's so tanky, unless it's up shields or unless Bastiodon's been beat down enough. So Bastiodon is very, very powerful, and I don't need to cover it. It's a giant tank, okay? A giant tank, you smack everything down, you summon a giant pillar of stone from the ground, or you burn everything to death. That's Bastiodon. Probably faced it. Do you want to know how you kill Bastiodon? You either Earthquake it to oblivion with a 0.69 Earthquake, you water said tank and make it very, very wet, or you punch it to death, which is why Deoxys defense is very strong against it. It's double weak against fighters, and fighters love seeing Bastiodon because you can just farm it down. You can farm it down, go to town, and just destroy poor Bastiodon. Also, low-key secret, if you have Nidoqueen Shadow, Nidoqueen can destroy Bastiodon with Earth Power. However, make sure you debuff it first, but yeah, just kill Bastiodon. Just kill it. Just kill it. Die. Ironically, I do have a rank 2 Bastiodon, so sorry Bastiodon, you will be my pet. However, as far as your brothers and sisters that other people or trainers have, I'm gonna kill them all. I'm sorry. I love you, but I'm sorry. They must die. I hope you kill plenty of Bastiodons in your guys' career in Go Battle League. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. These top 10 Pokemon you'll see a lot. I've seen a lot of them in Go Battle League already. That are in a lot of different team comps or team combinations. It's kind of nuts how you see a lot of the same Pokemon returning over and over again. So it's going to be nice when you see the Great League Remix and you see a lot of these Pokemon nerfed. But as for Great League right now, as you see Poison type, the Poison type buff did make an impact and allowed for incredibly powerful combinations of teams or a whole bunch of different Pokemon to essentially just rise to the top. Like, Delsin's been really good already, but I think I've seen a lot more than recent editions than it is now. Also, with Poison types being out now and being buffed, you probably see, for some odd reason, I see actually a lot of ground type, or grass types still running around, even though grass types don't do very well against things like Starmie, etc. But as you see here, these top Pokemon are very popular. I've seen these a lot, so it's in your best interest to have either counters or plans against these specific Pokemon or these top 10. They're all very powerful. As you see, Sableye Safe Switch is still strong. Medicham, Bastiodon core is still running rampant. And of course, the Poison type Poison type buff, Shadow Nidoqueen. As far as the Shadow Nidoqueen buff or just with any other Poison type Pokemon, it's really good and it's a lot of fun to try out. So again, I hope this video did help you guys out. Get a glimpse of the Great League meta, because I've seen I've seen these 10 Pokemon a lot. Hopefully this video does help you out. Again, if you would like so, please like and subscribe. I use this spiel every time in every one of my videos, but if you see that small little box that says subscribe to the bottom right, put your mouse over it and you can easily subscribe by clicking on the subscribe box that pops up. It's free, totally helps the channel out, and it helps me reach my sub goal, so I really do appreciate it if you would just quickly go ahead and put your mouse over it and just subscribe. And I really do appreciate it. Again, I hope this video did help you guys out. Hopefully you guys are having a great time in Great League. And for those of you that didn't know, they did bring back the Stardust bonuses. So yelling, kicking, and screaming, and being annoying to Niantic does work. So now that the Stardust bonuses are back, hopefully you guys will, well, actually, I've been battling, but again, it's nice to see the Stardust bonus come back. They'll also be doing a makeup event to make sure that you guys get more Stardust. So they're adjusting everything. So again, they just recently put that out on Twitter. I'll put the link about it in the description. Hopefully that encourages you to battle more. This is arguably the easiest season ever to make Legend. So if you're gunning for Legend, now is the time. And hopefully this video does help you identify different combos and climb in Go Battle League. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video. Ciao!